our spirits through friendship with acquaintances both old and new, and constantly search for the chance to invite new friends to join us too. Let us hold our ethical standards high in our lives, in our homes, in our work, and even strive to advance goodwill in our land and all over the earth. Give us strength to serve wherever we are asked, in whatever capacity, and work like the burden lay solely with us, regardless what the cause may be. And grant through our faith in our friends, in our clubs, and in you, that our efforts will help us better our lives, and through our lives, better Rotary. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, so Sergeant at Arms report.
All right, good morning. Hey, what up, everybody? That too. My Rotary moment is back when a guy named Tom Allen was president, and we missed a couple of days without, a couple of meetings without Happy Hour, and then the meeting was so empty without them that I just want to acknowledge Buster's effort with Happy Dollars each meeting, and that really makes a big difference in everything.
All right, Sean, Sergeant at Arms.
All right, good morning. We've got one visiting Rotarian. We've got Deborah Friedman from Summit. We have two guests this morning. Chip Person has a guest.
This is my youngest son, no wonder my smallest son, Wilder.
Also, Mike Conrad brought a guest this morning.
Well, we're apart. Steve Hatcher is my guest, Dr. Steve Hatcher, and I think he already knows several people in this club. So please welcome Steve.
Yeah, so Deborah, I think we may get you an honorary name tag. Make one every time. Let's see, birthdays and anniversaries.
Good morning. Just have a few. Bonnie Bastow, November 13th, birthday. That's today. Howard Driggers, November 11th. Is he here? All right. Anniversaries. My bride and I celebrated 3 years yesterday. And then Chip and Laura Vale, November 11th, 25 years.
25 years.
All right, the football pool.
That's oh boy, good week for football pool. So exciting looking at our guys. Y'all were guessing that. This week, let's see. This is a true stud to dud. Somebody that's always right near the top, and for some reason, I don't know what happened. Beat out perennial loser Rob. He's not here. He had 11. He tried really hard. Rob, you didn't make it. Too bad you didn't win the 0 anyway. But James Edwards, only 11. I was shocked myself.
I gotta quit copying all this paper.
I don't know, man.
I may get it again next.
Honorable mention, Guy, Dennis Marcotte, and Chris Justice all had 17, so good job there for y'all. Danny Farley, big shout out to him, had a personal best with 16. That's like double his average. Way up there. John Dosick wins this, I guess we call this a vintage shirt now, right?
Well, that's a 13, yeah, you can't get that.
John here? Myrtle Beach, well, he's going to miss out then. I'll figure out who won the playoff between those honorable mentions. But first, running away with it. and didn't even answer the UCLA question, left one blank, and still got 20 out of 23.
Wow.
I think, I don't know, somebody else got 21 a couple weeks ago. Anyway, Jeff, believe it or not, congratulations. He wins a t-shirt from Netcom and also a little personal cooler, so you can take a beverage, into a game, but not into a stadium.
Everybody needs a man back.
That's right. That's right. Congratulations.
Personal mandate.
Yeah, fill them out, they're on the table. A couple weeks left.
All right, so announcements. So I guess we'll do an update on Hal. And so, yeah, Ben, if you want to turn the camera off. So other announcements, big bell ringing.
Yeah, so last week I made a big push for bell ringing and then I dropped the ball. So you're going to get that email today. I totally just got back to work and forgot to send out the link to the sign up. So that will go out. Thank you. Thank you. And on a lighter note, we need a pen. Is there anybody has a pen?
There you go.
We all forgot a pen. All right, that's great.
Can't fill out your.
Can't fill out our football pool. That's important stuff.
All right, let's see. So, just push again, December 4th is going to be our, bring a prospective member to the meeting. So we're going to, do a big shindig that day. And so kind of on the other side, sorry to report that Jack Stevens has submitted his resignation. They are moving to Arizona permanently. And he was hoping to be able to visit the club before he moved, but I guess the last time you saw Jack was last time you saw Jack. Once he comes back to visit, told him when he comes back to visit to be sure to come see us. Any other announcements? Did want to point out that Cheryl was the winner of the beautiful brooch today. So, it's not bad. Yeah, don't just pick on the men. So. All right, so Happy Dollars.
Happy Dollars! It sounds like everybody's already given Happy Dollars. That's right. All these people getting up giving these reports, and we're not getting a dollar. We have to work all this time and thing. Dave, go ahead.
I got to thank Mike Allen for telling me my sons, at least one of them was mentioned in the newspaper today. They went to the Model UN at Vanderbilt about 2 weeks ago. Something they put on their resume for college. Anyway, they're at Michigan High School.
Sounds like you know a lot about that. Did Mike tell you that your son went, or did
I just want to thank Dale for allowing me to do some flooring at his church. Thank you, Dale.
All right, what'd you do?
Did a little carpet.
I couldn't buy raffle tickets today, so we only have 5.
Okay,
Which I'll give to you, but I have to tell a long story.
Give me that.
I have to tell you a couple of stories.
Tell me a couple of stories. You got 5 stories you
Okay.
can tell.
First story is kind of a sad one because I missed the fundraiser. I was away. Yeah. But it turned into something very nice because I was stuck in Germany that weekend. And what I did on Saturday, I visited our exchange student, Merit, of last year. So I visited her parents before she came, and I always said she was our #1 exchange student ever, our all-time favorite. So we had a wonderful time with him on Saturday in Dortmund, where she lives. Her parents, it's funny what they do, kind of a side job. They do guided tourist tours to Dortmund. There is not much to see at all, but thanks to the RAF and US Air Force, the fact that it was long flight in the same But they do these tours on segways. So I did a 2-hour guided tour on segways. And then at night, I felt something that only Emily and I understand. Borussia Dortmund was playing against Bayern München. It was an away game, so it was not in the stadium there, unfortunately. But we went to the central square, which is kind of surrounded by bars, and there were like 10,000 people watching that game. Unfortunately, they lost, and the winning goal of Bayern München was scored by somebody from my native country, Arjen Robben. So I really had to be quiet and Is that good for $1 or $2? Huh?
That's about five.
Close to five.
I think that's fine.
I do one more thing, especially because it was Veterans Day this week. I have to give a special thank you to Chip. Chip and I have been working on something very interesting, especially Chip. Is our company, we have huge difficulties to find people for technical jobs like service technicians. And you always read every day in the papers, you need to hire a veteran. So I developed this creative idea. Let's try to find veterans for these jobs. Yeah. Which I can tell you is like a huge battle. You think it's easy? It's not. No. Chip helped me out big time, and we went, you know how it goes with networking, you go from one thing to the next, and from one thing to the next. And we're making some progress. Right now, I didn't even tell Chip because I've been away again. I have basically 3 to 4 candidates who could really fit the job. I interviewed one, we already interviewed twice, another one I interviewed once, another one's still coming. So there is some progress. So I really have to thank Chip. It's a bit of sad that it's so difficult, although you see it advertised so much, it's so difficult. Yesterday, in fact, we went to a job fair in the National Guard Armory in Burlington, because they do that, and there were about 20 companies and about 10 veterans showed up. It's like, yeah, it's very difficult. But the good thing is, and again, we're making progress now.
I actually have some new ideas along
All
that.
right, it's gonna be another 5.
It's gonna be
Hey, you're done.
Meters running.
This last weekend,
Far enough from Robbie.
you want to talk to Gary? Microphone.
I don't want to.
This last weekend brought back some memories that I wanted to share. It could be a long story, but on November the 9th, we had this Berlin Wall coming down. On November 9th, 1989, I was in my office in Cologne when we heard that some people were getting through the gates, and I was calling my other home office in California. And when they got me, they said, well, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. We lost the bet, because they bet that I would have been in Berlin. And all of a sudden, I was heading that night to one of my German distributors in the Thomas College for the weekend, and I thought, maybe that's a good idea. So my wife used to live in Berlin for about a year, and had 2 friends, one was an ER surgeon and a civil engineer, which have stories by themselves. But she made a phone call to Berlin, called my wife because I couldn't get plane reservations. I checked out of my hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning. I drove to Bonn, got on an airplane at 6, was in Tempelhof at 7. And when you see the television clip with Tom Brokaw, I was 20 feet away from him when they were doing the walls like this. And the euphoria of the Germans, the sweet smell of the Trebbies, watching the families going through, even walking out past Checkpoint Charlie was really an experience with the foggy mornings. Just the families reuniting. There's a whole big interesting story, including some espionage and sneaking. One of the guys was sneaking East Germans in through his Cadillac because he had a pass going to the west and back, and was imprisoned by the East Germans in solitary confinement. One of the guys I met with. So I had an incredible weekend being there with the Germans when the wall came down.
Wow.
Thanks, Buster. I got $3, but it's quick. We had a good week. I got called for jury duty on Veterans Day. Courthouse closed, no problem.
That's a good thing.
Katie shot her first buck this year, black powder. She was, it was really amazing. She's going to be a good surgeon one day, watching her dress that. And I met with Jim and Randy on Monday night, and the fundraiser, assuming all of our receivables are collectible, came out better than we thought. It was about $41K.
All right. Dan posted on Facebook that Katie killed and field dressed her first year, and then she was going to teach at the cotillion that afternoon.
Yeah.
Quite impressive.
This book, oh, damn. That's right, you're gonna have to charge Ralph. But anyway, I just wanna do a little,
I'll cover it in. I'll cover it if it's short.
This is a service and, what do you do when you do business together? What's that called?
Partnership.
Collusion.
No, Rotary is a, it's a service and work business with each other. Anyway, rolling on. Forgive me, I sound like Steve, but not as dynamic a story. Ralph, I've given him all my insurance. I'm doing a little promo for Ralph. Top drawer experience. Yesterday he came in and found our previous insurance company was like doubling our payroll or something, and we were gonna have to cough up another 11 grand to workers' comp or something. He found the mistake. I said, "You want 50% of that?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll buy you a steak dinner." But just to let you know, he's on the ball, top drawer, bonding the works. And anyway, I just appreciate you, Ralph, and your professionalism.
Thanks very much.
There you go.
Many of you all have heard Wilder ran as a pacer in the Tahoe 200, the first 200-mile race in the United States a few weeks ago. We got him entered voluntarily, I might add, into the Crooked Road 24-hour race. And it's a 1-mile track, and you just go around as many times to either get dizzy or fall over or make 100 miles. And so we don't know how far we'll go, but it's 8 a.m. next Saturday until 8 a.m. the following Sunday. And we're going to go up there and see what we can do.
Wilder.
All right.
Last night.
It didn't have anything to do with the fact that Wilder was chasing Rebecca Byron. We're like 300 miles.
I want to thank David Graves for a very thoughtful presentation.
All right. Oh, well. Sometimes Grandpappy has his mind's a little feeble, but he always said, in this season with sports and all this craziness, he said, winners never soar so high as when they're jumping up and down on the spirits of those they defeat. Think about that.
All right, so November is Rotary Foundation Month, and so last week we had a fabulous Rotary dinner that Mike organized for the district. Fabulous speaker, as you promised, so that was great. And so while we were there, Gate City was certainly recognized as a Triple Crown club, and one of, I think, 12 in the district. And we also received our banners for E-Ray, so every Rotarian every year. So US $100 per capita, 100% member participation, and 100% sustaining member club. So we got those last week. And then our program today will be Mike, who's going to talk about the Rotary Foundation and some special presentations we have.
Yay, Mike!
Hey, Mike.
What happened? Is this thing sleep?
It does sleep.
Okay. We'll hope it comes up. All right, I'm not so sure we just shouldn't have happy dollars today as our program, with all the spirit in the club. First of all, thanks for allowing me to speak. It is Foundation Month. The Rotary Foundation is our foundation. But really, before I really talk about the foundation, I want to go back to some basics, a few little basics from our club, and just to give you an idea of the achievements of the Gate City Club. Many of you that have never served on the board, we may not get the information out in terms of what this club truly does. We talked a little bit last week about the Gold Club Achievement Award. Some of you, like I said, if you've not been on the board, you have no clue what the Gold Club Achievement Award is. But what happened about 19 years ago, past District Governor Stuart Fountain said, this district excels. And rather than just trying to accomplish the presidential citation, which is very easy to meet the qualifications for that. He said, let's take this to another level in our district. And that's exactly what happened. And so there is criteria, and it's based on the size of the club, and it's in areas like leadership, service, fellowship and conferences, the foundation, and so forth. So you must know that from the inception, and it was said last week, that we have attained Gold Club status every year since this program was started. And we are only one of 2 clubs out of 50 in this district that have done so. So it is truly a tradition. And the thing that needs to be said, this is not just a board action. It's what we do as Rotarians that make this happen. The board doesn't make this happen. They lead us, and we accomplish what we need to accomplish to be able to be awarded this. So I just wanted you to know that, and you see all those, you see all the notations up here on our banner, and so hopefully we got a little bit of work to do this year, but I am confident that we're going to make it and not break that streak. So as Emily said, it was great last week to have our foundation banquet. John Germ, who will be the president of Rotary International in 2016-17, a Southern gentleman for sure, was just terrific. And he's also been involved with polio. That's another passion of his, and he chairs that committee as well. But we in Gate City, as you know, we have our own foundation, but we support our Rotary Foundation. And it is not the Rotary Foundation, it is truly our foundation. And I want to read to you the mission of our Rotary Foundation, and it is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. And collectively, 1.2 million of us really do a lot in a lot of these areas of focus. And here are the areas of focus, and you can look in terms of the things that we do in this club, in our district grants, and we'll fit. Everything we do fits in one of these areas of focus, with peace and conflict resolution, disease prevention, water sanitation, maternal and child care, basic education, and economic and community development. And just some statistics in a couple of those areas. As far as clean water is concerned, 2.6 billion people live without adequate sanitation, clean water and sanitation. So, and 2.2 million children die each year from diarrhea and related diseases. And down in the economic and community development area, 1.4 billion with a B, people live in poverty, making less than $1.25 a day. So these, as you can see, why these would be the areas of focus for our Rotary Foundation. The interesting thing about, and what makes our Rotary Foundation so unique, is that we address the greatest needs, and our reach is greater than that of the United Nations, and we can go where politicians and religious groups cannot go. Being working for a nonprofit, you always are looking to see how much goes to the actual work that's being done. This is unbelievable. 92% of the dollars that we contribute to our Rotary Foundation goes to the programs. Only 2% to administrative expenses, and then you've got 6% for fundraising. It gets the highest rating from Charity Navigator, so I can assure you that this is something that's really proud of. All right, we have resources. We do our thing in the club. I think we've got some wonderful resources in our club. Cheryl David is our foundation chair this year. But Slade Lewis from the Guilford Club, we're lined up. Our foundation advocates are aligned just like our assistant governors, and Slade Lewis is our support person. You see the committee chairs. You will also come down and see scholarships with Jim Kennedy from our club, who has, he heads up both the Global Scholars as well as the Peace Scholar applicants. All right, here is Patrick Eakes, which is our current district governor. These are his top goals for the year, and these are things that we certainly already embrace. All clubs are encouraged to be 100% Paul Harris Fellow clubs. We do that. We are the first district in the Rotary world where all members were Paul Harris Fellows at one time. And that was, we were recognized that back in 2008 officially by the Rotary International. Some clubs have not maintained that. As they got new members in, they have not made it, part of their requirements is that they're not becoming Paul Harris Fellows. We don't. Our club is 100% Paul Harris Fellow club. All clubs are encouraged to be 100% sustaining. You notice from the banner that Emily just showed that last year we were 100% sustaining. 42 out of 51 clubs were 100% sustaining. It's the first time we've ever attained anything of that magnitude. So, and that year it was first class. The Rotary International president recognized all these clubs as first class. This year it's best class. So we're going to top that number, or it's my goal as the foundation chair for the district to top that number, and we want to lead the world. Last year, 80% of our Rotarians were sustaining in that they give a minimum of $100 to our Rotary Foundation. We were second in the Rotary world, and we want to be number one. So I'm a little bit competitive, so we'll see how that all works out. New Paul Harris Society members. Paul Harris Society members are those that are willing to give $1,000 a year to the annual fund, either to Polio Plus or to a specific grant. We had a goal this year, or we have a goal of adding 50 new Paul Harris Society members. To date, we're at 37. So we've got 13 to go, and there's no doubt we're not going to make that. We have 5 Paul Harris Society members in this club. So if anyone is interested, I'd love to talk to you about that. But it can be painless. It can be $85 a month that can be drafted from your account. So, and you just think about the good that is being done with that $1,000. All clubs will support the Sandler training. Abby Donnelly's done that for 5 years. That was held back in October. They raised $17,000 with the Gates match. That becomes 2 to 1. That becomes $51,000 for polio eradication. All right, we talked about best class this year, which we expect the Gates City Club to be best class, and we'll recognize these clubs at our district conference as we did last year. All right, the way that we give to the foundation is 3 different ways. Directly to polio, and as you know, the goal is to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. To date, Rotarians have donated $1.2 billion since 1985 to the eradication of polio. And to give you a little bit of an update on that, as of the end of last month, there was 257 cases worldwide compared to 312 the year before. The trouble spots are still Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. The largest number of cases was in Pakistan, 220 cases. and there's some work being done there with the leaders to try to move this thing forward. But we really believe that the next country to be polio-free is going to be Nigeria. They had only 6 cases, and the last case was in June of this year. So it has to be a year, and then they could be declared to be polio-free. The annual fund, and how we support the annual fund, as was said, E-Ray, which is every member every year, gets through being a sustaining member, a Paul Harris Fellow, a member of the Paul Harris Society, or either a major donor. The endowment fund is either a bequest society member, $10,000 that you'll leave in your will, or $1,000 as a benefactor. And we're going to recognize some Paul Harris Fellows and some benefactors today. Just to show you what $100 will buy, which is amazing in the way that Rotary uses those dollars. Okay, as I said, we're already 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. We are a Triple Crown Club. There's only 12 of these that are in our district. We were, in 12 of them, there's only 12 in the world, in the whole Rotary world. That means that every member is a Paul Harris Fellow, every member is a benefactor, and every member is a sustaining member, giving at least $100 to our Rotary Foundation. So we were actually, we were number 3 in terms of those that have accomplished this. The Crescent Club was number 1 in the world, and of course, as you know, our club came from some members from the Crescent Club. That's how we all got started. Okay, annual fund, those are the dollars that come back to our district to use for district grants, the things that we do, and I'm going to show you some of the things, as you know, that we're involved in, but 50% of these dollars come back in 3 years. Last year, we topped $400,000 for the first time ever in our district. And this year, so we're going to be a little more aggressive, we want that to be $450,000, meaning $225,000 will come back to use for district grants, for scholarships, and the things that we do here in our district. All right, here's what our Gate City Rotarians have done over the years. Well, of course, I've already said we're 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. We're a Triple Crown Club. We're 100% sustaining, a first-class club, and this is a first-class club. Our per capita giving last year was $360 versus a district average of $155. Pretty darn impressive. Total giving last year was almost $23,000. Our all-time giving to the Rotary Foundation is about $287,000. I was at the Colonelsville Club yesterday, and I think their all-time giving, and they're like twice the age of this club, was like $341,000. So that shows you what Gate City Rotarians are doing to make a difference in the world that we live in. The support of the endowment fund, we have 9 bequest society members, we have 2 major donors, and as I mentioned earlier, we have 5 Paul Harris Society members. Here's the things that we do with the dollars that come back from 3 years from our contributions. The work we do, the Children of Vietnam, Big Sweep, Project Rebuild, the Rotary Youth Leadership Program, which is second to none, Meals of Hope, and Shadow Day. So these are the kinds of things that we are involved in as Gate City Rotarians. And we are a sweat equity club. We are not a check writing club, I will say that. We've always been a sweat equity club. Just some dates, this is for Danny though, because this is going to be his year. Grants Management Seminar is coming up, and that is how you qualify for district grants. To be able to apply for district grants, and we must have representatives at that meeting. So I'm going to end with a quote from a past Rotary International president, Glenn Estes, who was a Southern gentleman, he's now deceased, who says, "The foundation belongs to us all. It is our greatest resource for doing good, and it is our responsibility to maintain its strength. So, a big thank you to the Gate City Rotary Club for all you do for our Rotary Foundation. And I think now we've got some Paul Harris Fellows that we want to recognize. And let me see, they are, these are plus ones. So Ashley, would you come forward? You're, Tony. Is Tony still here? And James Peter. I'll let you
Have these plus ones, so now you've reached $2,000 in giving.
Right, got it.
You didn't know that, did you?
Well,
Well, thank y'all. This is for your wonderful support. Okay.
oh, thank you.
And we have two benefactors, and those are Ben Bracken and Brian Cosby. Okay, thank y'all.
Let's see, so I guess we have raffle, so yeah, clearly we need to get more raffle tickets, so we'll have that by next week. Figure that out. So who didn't buy a raffle ticket?
One more announcement, if I may. If you see an email about Project Griswold, that's what we'll call it, so Hal doesn't know what we're talking about. That will be the code name for setting up decorating Hal's house.
Very nice. Well, it's gonna be fun to do.
All right, so 430.
Yeah.
All right.
Jeff, you're right.
I'm gonna take Buster to Las Vegas with me. He wins that thing about every 2 months. Unbelievable.
All right.